Hi everyone, it's Bev DeBono, and I have a really fast and easy pumpkin page for you tonight. I am going to be using for this pumpkin circles, a circle and an oval from your cutting system templates. And also I'm going to be using some papers from the Croptoberfest accessory paper pack. Now, this is a special pack that only Creative Memories advisors can get. These are exclusives. And from time to time, well, quite a few times during the year, Creative Memories does offer a lot of exclusive items only for their advisors. So if you don't have this paper pack, ask your advisor, or you could become an advisor, and then you would have access to all of the wonderful exclusive items that Creative Memories does have to offer. The other way you could have gotten this pack was by ordering the Croptoberfest customer bundle, which is what we will be using for the Croptoberfest class that I will be doing in a few weeks. Okay, so we're going to be using some of the paper for that. In fact, the paper that I'm using will be all of the crates and a lot of the fruit. And the other side, believe it or not, I am going to punch some leaves with this. And you normally wouldn't think that this paper would be good for leaves, but I will tell you that it really looks great. It really looks great. It gives it a variation on the leaves itself. So I like to experiment sometimes with punching out different things that you wouldn't normally think would make a good punch. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. This time it happened to work. Okay, so I'm going to be using circles and an oval. And what I like to show you is the circle templates they are in 3 different sizes. So it's a good idea to label the back of your circle templates with numbers, because they're usually referred to as circle number 1, 2, or 3. So the small circle is circle 1. That's the one we're using tonight. The medium circle is labeled circle 2, and the larger circle is labeled circle 3. So it just becomes easier, and it makes it less confusing when you're referring to a circle, what size we are cutting. For this pumpkin, we are using circle number 1, which is the smallest circle. Now, the same thing with the ovals. The ovals are more confusing because there are 4 sizes of the ovals. So the ovals go from, I have them marked from smallest to the largest. So the smallest, and we're continuing with the number. So that was 1, 2, 3 for circles. The next size oval is, the smallest one is oval 4. Oval 4. The next one up is oval 5. The next one up is oval 6. And then we have oval 7. So you see, it makes it less confusing when we're referring to which oval to cut. And it's a good idea to label the backs of these templates. So for the pumpkin that we're doing, we are using the smallest oval, which is oval number 4. Okay, so we're using circle number 1, which is the smallest circle, and oval number 4, which is the smallest oval. Okay, so let's make our pumpkin first, and then we'll go into making our background. So I'm going to actually use a tangerine color pumpkin, only because I wanted to have the pumpkin pop up a little bit, and this side piece was rather dark. So we're going to use circle number 1, red blade on the outside, and we're going to cut it 2 times. Circle number 1, which is your smallest circle, red blade on the outside, and we're going to cut it 2 times. Okay, so let me go from here. And it's red blade on the outside. Red blade goes, the 2 bumps go into the outside groove. And you're gliding the blade forward. Now, if you're still using the older size blades, they are a little harder to use. I will show you the newer blades actually are a little bit larger than the original blade, and it has a swivel in the inside piece of the blade. So you see that the actual cutting mechanism, that blade turns around, so you don't have to press as hard, and you also will get a sharper cut with that blade. Okay, so we're doing a second one. I say bumps in the groove, and we're going outside circle number 1. Okay, and now we are taking oval number 4, which is the smallest oval. And we are also going bumps in the groove to the outside edge. Now this, I know this doesn't look like a pumpkin, but it will be. Okay, so now we have 2 circles and 1 oval. And what we're going to do is, if you have an ink or some type of an ink, a dauber, and a brown ink dauber, you can just ink the outer edges of this. If you don't have an ink dauber or an ink pad, you could use the dual tip pens, and you can use the thicker side, and then just gently with your ink right along the edges, just kind of, and it will give it a softer look, but it will ink it. Okay, so that is another way that you can do it. If you have a dot pen, that will give you a better inking around the edge. Okay, so I'm just going to ink this really quickly, and because I just happen to have an ink dauber, and if you don't, like I said, the dot pens work really well. Okay, so now that they're inked, we want to cut one of the circles in half. One of the circles in half. And one of the easiest ways, and one of the biggest tricks of our 12-inch trimmer, is that if you take a circle, and you can take any size circle, and just nestle it gently in the little valley here at the bottom or the top of your trimmer. So I'm just going to nestle, I'm just going to put it down so it just rests gently between the 2 hills and valleys there. Just make sure it's just gently resting there, and then just trim it down, and you have a perfect circle cut in half. And this works with any size circle. You can have a big jumbo, you can have a smaller size. For whatever reason, it really works. So they did a really good job with that. All right, let's assemble our pumpkin. And the easiest way to assemble the pumpkin is to put we're going to use the halves. Let's put the flat edge on the 2-inch mark. So you want the flat edge at the 2-inch mark. I'm going to put a little bit of repositionable tape on that, just close to that flat edge. And then I'm going to take the other flat edge and put that at the 3-inch mark. Okay, so the other flat edge is at the 3-inch mark. And I'm going to put some repo tape right near the flat edge. Now I'm going to take the other circle and I'm going to just center it on those two edges. Just like that. Okay, and it's okay if you have a space at the top and a space at the bottom, because some of your oval is going to cover that. All right, now we're going to put tape on the oval pattern that we cut. And I'm going to center that right in the middle of that larger circle. Okay, I'm not going to worry about this bottom piece that they're not all matching up. If you want, you can take your trimmer and cut that piece off and just even that out, because I'm going to nestle it under the fence. I'm going to nestle it under the fence, so you're not even going to notice it. Okay, and now the last thing you want to do is you want to make a little stem. So you just need a little piece of brown, a scrap of brown, which I happen to have, and of course now cannot find, but no worries. I have my trusty scrap. So I'm going to find a scrap of brown. And these are all the smaller scraps. And you want it to be about, oh, an inch, a little about an inch, maybe. I've got all these scraps here that I can use for a stem. So I'm going to just freehand this. I'm just going to clip it. Maybe about an inch by 2 inches or so. And then if you want, you can just cut the stem at a slant, or if you want, you can cut into it, you know, to give it a little bit of a fun stem look. And then that just gets taped to the back of your pumpkin. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape behind the pumpkin and then just attach my stem. Okay, and each stem can be different. They don't all have to be the same because pumpkins are different. They are all originals, right? Okay, so that makes our pumpkin. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick, because now that we've made our pumpkin, we want to add it to a page. So I'm going to do a quick page with the Fence Border Maker cartridge, which is the one that comes with your system. And I'm using the fence for the bottom and also for the top. So let's get a sheet of brown, and we're going to use the Fence Border Maker cartridge that comes with the system. All right, we're going to cut our brown to 3.5 inches. 3.5 inches by 12. Okay, so 3.5 inches by 12. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to punch with the Border Maker fence cartridge both sides of that 3.5 inch piece. So I'm first going to line up the one side on the paper guide, push the handle back, put the paper guide underneath, and now punch both sides. So I'm going to punch Sorry that it makes the mirror, I mean the camera shutter there. Okay, so I'm going to punch one side. I'm going to clear my debris. And then I'm going to turn my paper over to the other side, the other 12-inch side, and punch a complete row from there as well. Okay, and two other things that we're going to punch, if you'd like. Before I do that, I just want to cut one of the borders to 1.5 inches. Okay, so the top border is going to get cut to 1.5 inches. So I'm going to line the tips of that picket fence, this tippy tops of that picket fence, to the 1.5 inch mark on the right-hand side of our trimmer. And then I'm going to just cut that straight down. So the bottom piece is a little bit larger, and I'm going to save that for the bottom. The smaller one, the 1.5 inches, will become our top border. Okay, so I want to do I want to add some grass to the pumpkin. Now you don't need to, but I kind of wanted to add some green to this because I felt that the green picked up the green that's in the pattern. So I'm going to punch out with the grass border maker cartridge. Now this is a retired one. If you have a grass punch or anything else, you're welcome to use that. And the variation is if you don't want to cut any grass, you can just punch leaves and put the leaves on the bottom. Okay, you can put just the leaves on the bottom. Right, so I'm going to punch out with the border maker cartridge. I'm going to do it off to the side so that it's not shaking my camera. I'm going to punch the complete border with the grass, and then I'm going to cut it to 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. Okay, so I'm just going to do this off to the side. Okay, and now that I have that cut, I'm going to turn it to the right-hand side, and the very tip top of the grass is going to go to the 1.25 inch mark. And I'm going to cut that off. Okay, so we're starting to build our layer on that. Okay, so you can see how we are starting to build a layer. I probably should get my background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put my background, which is a nice beige. And that is what this is going to start looking like. Okay, and that's great, but I thought that it needed a little bit of color. So I went to the paper that's in the Croptoberfest accessory, the exclusive pack there. And I'm going to cut a 4.5 inch strip. 4.5 inch strip. Okay, and then I'm going to take that 4.5 inch strip and I'm going to turn it. I'm going to put my finger at the top where the cut line is, and I'm going to take, I'm then just going to start moving my paper over to the right. until the other point, the left-hand side now, is on my cut line. Okay, so this is not a 45-degree angle. This is just cut on the diagonal. All right, I'm going to do that again. 4.5-inch strip. Leave the top on your cut line. You can put your finger on it. And then with your other finger, just slowly glide the bottom, the left bottom over until that left edge goes onto your cut line. Okay, and now we're just going to cut this in half on the diagonal. Okay, and you may have to just clip that edge there at the top or the bottom. Okay, so if you're doing a double page spread, you have 2 of these now. It's a lot to put on one page altogether. So you can put one on the left side and one on the right side. It really makes a great look. Okay, so you have 2, and one goes on the left and one goes on the right. All right, so let's put these down now and assemble these while we have them out. I'm going to use repositionable tape on the first pieces to go down are the big diagonal pattern. And I'm going to use repositionable tape on my silicone mat. And the reason I do that is because the repositionable tape comes out in little dots, little micro dots. And when you use it on the silicone mat, you see the little micro dots. I don't know if you could see the dots. I'm trying to get it so you can see just the teeny tiny dots there. It only comes out where you have paper. And by using the repositionable tape, I can also get all the way to the very tip of that point so that it's not going to be lifting up when I have it in my albums. And I really like that feature of the repositionable tape, that I can get all the way to the points of everything. And you'll see that as we tape down the grass as well as the fence. Okay, so we have one on the side. Okay, now I'm going to tape down my fence. I'm going to do the large one. There were 2 of them. Remember, we cut one at 1.5. That one's going at the top. That one's a little smaller. And the little one, the one that's a little larger, which is 1.75 inches, that one is going to the bottom. And again, I'm using my repositionable tape. And this is where you could really see, I guess, on the brown, the little micro dots and how they go to the very tip there, so that this is not going to be lifting up. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with my grass. And as I said, if you don't want the grass, you just want to put leaves, you certainly can do that as well. You don't have to, you can do that, that variation. And then I just found a vine from a vine sticker from a Creative Memory sticker pack. And in my sticker binder, because it's all organized by seasons. So all of my stickers are organized by seasons. So I can just go right in there and look in fall and then get a sticker strip. Okay, I'm going to now put my top piece down. like that. All right, and now I'm going to put my pumpkin in, and we're going to have to use our multi-purpose tool just to lift up the fence a little bit. So it's a good thing we use the repositionable tape. I'm just going to shimmy it under the fence and lift it just a teens so that I can nestle my pumpkin under the fence. Okay, so there we have our pumpkins. And we can finish it off if you want with the other side of that great paper was that orange starburst there. And I'm going to use the autumn leaves border punch and punch a row of leaves. And I'm just going to punch a quick row of leaves, and then we'll just put that on the top. It will make a nice topper for that fence that's up at the top. So it was a fence that's upside down that's up at the top, which became a nice border. So again, I was trying to use the fence in a different way so that you know, you don't always have to use it as a fence. It just becomes kind of a decorative piece. And I'm just going to put some of my repositionable tape up at the top, and that is going right on top. Leaves are going right on top of that upside down fence, and it just creates a nice border. Okay, and the last thing you could do is, if you want, you can add some mats to this. Again, this is one of the papers in the accessory pack. And I'm just going to put some mats on my base here. And those are that's actual pumpkin paper. Then you can add your title and you're all set. So let me just tape that down, and then I'll show you. And then we'll add some dots. I love to add dots, especially to the outside of the fence, the top of the fence and the bottom of the fences, and also around the pumpkin. I think it just adds some movement to it. So you want to use your, on your dual tip pen, or you want to use the thicker point. And I'm just going to put a couple dots around the pumpkin. And then at the top, I'm just going to put a couple dots, every couple of inches across the top of the fence, the upside down fence, and then around my pumpkin. Okay, so that is a fast and easy pumpkin page. If you want to do a variation on the fence, you can use the rustic fence border maker cartridge, which is now available for a short time, and then also just put your autumn leaves on there, and then add your pumpkin to that piece as well. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed a fast and easy pumpkin, and I hope you tune in to some of my other YouTube videos. I have a lot of them on Bev DeBono Designs. If you're not currently working with a Creative Memories advisor, I'd appreciate it if you would consider working with me. And if you'd like to join a team, I do support a national team of advisors, and I'm always ready to welcome new people to my team. Thanks a lot, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.